Hey everyone, so I've made a basic fingerless glove right here. It's basically a square. You fold it in half after you've knitted it. Sew up the edge, leaving a gap for the thumb. And needless to say, it fits like a glove. You can still use your digits and it will keep your hands warm. Now here's my problem. I've made one, but I have two hands. Although I'm not using two hands. I have two hands. Spider-Man. So let's make another glove to go with this one. If you want to make it with a pattern, add a little bit more colour to it. You could add like a snowflake on it. Do it however you want. But I'm just going to show you the basic shape. This is pretty easy. It's going to be a short video. But it's another item that you can wear and it's going to go into my garments list so you know where it is. Let's get started, people. Get at your machines. Get ready. Pick your favourite wool out. This is in double knit, by the way. I probably should have said that. Yes, this is a double knit wool. I'm not sure if this one was Women's Institute, as I'm using scrap wool at the moment, but it's cute purple. So let's work with this. To the machine. Okay everyone, so here we are with another episode of what am I going to make this time? Or at least that's what I'm calling it. So, as you saw at the first part of the video, we are making gloves. And they fit like a glove. So, because I have small hands, I'm casting on 20 of 20. Basically, whatever you do for your sleeves, that's the size you're going to need. I'm going to do the easy cast on, so as you may have noticed, I'm using my comb tool to pull out every other needle. Set your row counter to 0. 0 is always a good place to start. Thread your machine up with whichever yarn you're using. And to do this glove, simple cast on, done. Bringing every other needle back into play. Now this particular glove, you don't have to do a rib, but it stops it from curling up. So yes, I have done a mock rib. I haven't done a peacock edging because most of the times I need to turn that end. You can tell I've just made it. Sorry. So to do a mock rib, all we're going to do is we're going to knit 24 lines straight across, back and forth, cast at the bottom onto the 24th line. So let's get that bit done. So we have got 1. I am counting that as 1. Do not forget your weights, people. This can be an issue. That could have caused me to actually restart the entire thing if they had fallen off. I got lucky. So I want 24. So the rib will be 12 lines long. 12 on the front, 12 on the back, equaling 24. 9, 10, 11, 12, 12 more, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Now what I like to do is I like to set my row counter back to 12 because by halving this, we are losing 12 rows. So you are losing 12 rows off your size. If you're doing a tension swatch, you'll understand. So yes, take your weights off. We are going to hem this up. This will save us doing the actual sewing. And again, just like with the peacock edging, we're just going to lift up every other stitch onto each needle. It saves the machine jamming, it saves it doing more work than it has to. Again, the other reason why I have gone for this particular stitching is you don't have to sew it up. So this is why you need to remember your weights. I've got some very dangerous drop stitches here. There we go. That's them cleared up. She says. And by doing the easy cast on, you can tighten the hem, leave it as loose as you want. So if you've got smaller hands than me, which I'm going to say I doubt it unless you're a child, because my hands are quite small. But if you have got smaller hands than me, you can tighten it up at the base. You can use less stitches. The idea is you are making a square and folding it in half for the seam. So once we've cast back on the bottom row, do not forget your weight this time. Do not do what I just did. I'm just going to pull that line tight. There we go. So do not forget your weight again. Your cast on comb, whichever you're using, do not forget it. And this jumper I'm wearing that you can see, that's the hoodie that I made. I do love that wool. That's the stuff from Wilkinson's. It's sweet, isn't it? Okay, so now we've done that. You've set your row counter back to 12 because you've lost 12 rows by pulling it up. And we are going to knit to 60. I've done to 60. If you want it longer, do it longer. It depends if you want your gloves to be more like arm warmers and have them up to your arms. I love doing these gloves to the homeless. They're easy to do. They're fast working. They keep their hands warm. And the quicker you get one pair done, the quicker you can work on another one. I am at 31 lines, working towards 60. Again, people, I need to invest in a knitting machine table. The ironing board is not that good, and I cannot stress that enough. People have told me. Excuse that. I am literally working from waist yarn. People have told me that no matter how sturdy a ironing board is, that it can damage the machine. What I'm actually doing is a crochet dress that I was making myself, but I don't have enough wool for it. Right, so you've got to 60. Mark it here, because now we are going to do 12 lines. You can mark it with your pins or do whatever, but you want 12 lines so that we've got the hem for the top. Otherwise, that's going to roll over. I mean, it's fine if you want one that's unworked, so let's just do another 12 lines. So in actual fact, from the back of the hem, after you've done the first initial 12 lines, we are doing 72 lines. Excuse me, go back down there, thank you. We are going to do a straightforward easy cast off because we're hemming it up. Doesn't really matter about the edging. So grab your sewing needle. Cut your working yarn and just thread it through, simple as. Then you're going to cast off all these needles onto your yarn. I like to pull mine forward, it makes it easier. Then you can just literally take your comb off, it's easier when you take the comb off. Cast on combs, the bane of your existence and the happiness and joy that they bring. So we're just going to literally, I don't know if you can see this, we're literally just going to take the sewing needle and pull the stitch off and hold it on your thread, and you're going to do that to each one. I'm doing this left-handed. Do not question my methods, I am a right-handed person. So yeah, we're just going to take each one off. This is basically the end of the knitting bit. The next bit is all sewing, and that's on you people. The sewing is on you, because we all know how much we love sewing up. Hashtag sarcasm. Still going with this. Make sure you grab the full stitch and not part of the yarn, otherwise it can undo for you. Doesn't matter if it stays on the needle or goes on the thread, because you can fix that in editing. Just taking off every single one. Almost there. I'm pretty sure I said I did this on 20 of 20. If I didn't, I'm telling you now. But you just cast on the amount of stitches you need for your wrist. If you've got a bigger wrist, cast on more stitches. Okay, so you're just going to pull this through. And that's a very, very simple lazy cast off. So now we're going to sew up. So we're going to go back to the floor where I started at the beginning of this video. See you on the floor, people. And we are back. Let's start with the sewing up phase. So we want to start up here where we did that quick cast off. You want to go down approximately 6 rows, keeping it neat. And you just want to lift up from one of the back stitches and then go in between the stitches on here. And you're going to do that all the way along. So we're just picking up and going. You'll have to pardon me if I'm going off camera. I do not have a proper overhead camera yet. I'm working with what I've got. Remember, this is the inside of the glove, so people aren't necessarily going to be looking at this. You just want it as flat as possible so it's comfortable for your hand. If you feel like you want to do a running stitch instead straight across, you can. But that will show on the other side, whereas the way I'm doing it, pretty much invisible. And to get the invisible, I'm just literally picking up from the back of one of the stitches and then going through the main one and repeating that all the way across. Try and keep it even. It can be a pain. This is why I suggested marking it. I mean, you can either use chalk or whatever you want to use. Even a scrap piece of wool either side just to mark it, just so you know where you're going to. Right, let's get done with this bit, and then we can start with actually doing the only seam that's on this glove. I actually got this idea off a lady from my knitting group, hand knitting. She just thought, well, if you just make 2 oblongs, you can stitch them together. Okay, why not make one square and sew up one seam? It does the same thing, right? The only difference is you would have a standard seam on the one side, but I suppose here you have as well. If you are doing patterns and you're not doing them plain, like you're doing a tuck stitch on it, that's absolutely great too. I think my forte is templates, and then if you want to make them different later, you can. Right, so we've got the top hem done, we've got the bottom hem done. So now you're going to fold it inside out. So the rough naff edge is on the outside. And you're just going to start by sewing up these edges, leaving a space for your thumb. Unless you want to make wrist warmers. If you want to make wrist warmers, just keep on going. I personally sewed up for about approximately an inch before the thumb. So that way it covers your knuckles. Again, measure your own hand up. Put your hand in. Try it on. See where it fits for you. Like I said, I did about an inch, so I need a couple more stitches there. Now, you've got two options here. You can either sew up, or if you're like me and you hate dealing with ends, just go through the work. Just literally go through the work here. I've left about 1.5 inches for the thumb. Only because at its widest point, that's where you sort of want it to sit. It's about there. And then just sew up the rest of it. Again, if this is your second one, just measure it against your first one. It will give you a rough idea of where you need to be. So just going back to do a... is this one a blanket stitch? I think this is a blanket stitch. I just want to call it an overstitch. I know it's not a couch stitch. Maybe someone in the comments who actually does sewing. Normally I crochet on my seams, but with this it's hardly worth me getting the crochet hook out for it. As well, it leads to a better seam. Just going over all the stitches, and then to finish just go over the same stitch about twice. Go through the centre of it. Pull your needle out, tie it up to that one. Sew your heads in. And I have now got 2 gloves. So I've got my first glove. I need to sew that bit up there that I just missed. Not a problem. If you miss anything, you can always go back. I've got my first glove. I've got my second glove. Well, I'm going to be warm for the rest of winter. Enjoy, guys. Keep knitting. Keep warm. And if you enjoy my videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Everyone else says it. I thought I'd give it a go. See you later. Keep safe. Bye.